Hi, so my name is Sharon Baker, and for my project, I decided to knit a scarf. The reason I decided to go this route was because I had never done anything with knitting. Since I had never done it though, it didn't come out perfectly, but now I know how to do it, and you can even see right here where for some reason I got like a little carried away and I added more than I should have. Areas of occupation that I think this plays a role in is play and social participation. I said play because it's something you can do in your free time. It's an activity that involves using other objects to create something. And I said social participation because if some people want to get involved in like a knitting group or something, you can do that and get together in your community. The tools that I used were actually these knitting needles and this darning needle. And that's all I needed to do the project. Plus, for my supplies, I used 2 balls of this yarn. And I actually followed a YouTube video when I wasn't sure what to do, where to even start, by Bee Hooked Crochet and Knitting, and it helped me pick it up right away. So most of the time that I was knitting, I would take it to work with me, or I would knit when my daughter went to bed, just for the pure fact that I didn't ever really feel comfortable unless I was by myself doing it, just because I'd never done it before and I wanted to focus. But the thing is if I wasn't in like a comfortable position or anything, I would also get tense and the knots would become really tight. Towards the end, like right here, you could tell I loosened up a little bit, but in the beginning I was too tense. So that's also very important, is the comfort. My role in this project was that I was a beginner. I had never done anything like this before, so there were times where I would get a bit frustrated when a knot wouldn't work properly, or something just wasn't going right, or I wasn't doing it right. I couldn't figure it out. But once I began to get the hang of it, I definitely felt more comfortable. Like I said, a habit that I had was I would tense up when working on it, but it happens. It was my first one, so but like I said, once I knew what I was doing, it became more of a routine. So yeah, the 2 body functions that I think were required for this particular project was memory and eye-hand coordination. Memory because there were different stitches that they would do. Like there would be one row where you would do just a regular knit stitch, but then the next row you would do knit and purl, and you would alternate. So you'd have to remember, especially if you were coming back to it, like, okay, hey, what was the last row that I did? Or even while doing it, did I just do a purl stitch or did I do a knit stitch? So that was something that I did struggle with a little bit, because I would get distracted and then be like, where was I? And then eye-hand coordination, you need to be able to see what your hands are doing and be able to control what directions they're going in. And the body structures that supported this were the nervous system and the eyes and ears related to structures, because they supported the memory and eye-hand coordination. The performance skills that are required in this project are grip, coordinating, and pacing. You need to have a light grip when you're doing the knitting. You also need to be able to coordinate both hands, because you need to make sure that both your hands are moving in the direction that they need to. And then you also need to pace yourself. This is one of those tasks that's going to take time. You're not going to be done overnight. So you need to pace yourself. You're doing it to help relax yourself, not to add more stress and frustration. And then a way to grade down the activity to make it easier for the client I was thinking to take away the purl stitch, you could just do knit stitches. I thought that that would be a perfect way to make it a little less complicated for the patient if they wanted to learn to knit. And I thought a way to grade up is if the client is kind of like me and a little more uncomfortable with the idea of doing this around other people, or thinking that they may not be able to do it if they're not by themselves, is to do it in a group and make it more challenging for your focus. I think the therapeutic outcomes that I experienced is participation. It allowed me to participate in an activity that I've never really done before, and I thought was very good for me, and I actually really enjoyed it, and it's crazy. I want to keep knitting. I want to knit something else just to see if I could do it a little bit better than this one. But yeah, so that was my therapeutic craft.